afternoon to all of you. We all are gathered here for a short seminar, we can say, on a small scale, and speaking session is being conducted over here at Mashq and GE&MS. We have basically introduced this program so that students can focus and they get triggered easily on linguistic skills. We have invited some of the external speakers for this purpose. Basically, the speakers are based and they are the professionals who are working in multinational organizations. And they are basically catering different dimensions that are related to our skill, that is linguistics management. Basically, one more thing to add is that these speakers are very precious to us and for all of us, because when we talk on realistic grounds, they and their information, they are assets for us, for our career building. They help us to focus easily on what we want to do and where we want to excel actually. So I hereby congratulate on this first day and speaker session. And this session is being headed by USMAN SOHAIL, one of our basically very, very special person for us, because he is going to give take an initiative step on communication skills. And the main topic will be conducted on pronunciation and accent component. So hereby I congratulate him to be here and all of you, and a huge round of applause for him as he will be in the stage. Thank you, please.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum everyone. As you all know, my name is USMAN SOHAIL, and I've had extensive experience of working with multinational organizations which have their businesses all over US. I've not worked with anyone in Pakistan for that matter, and I started off in 2007 with TRG, and our main focus was on communication skills and sales. And English, as we all know, is the main language in the US, right? And any language, why is it used? It's used for communication, and communication helps us resolve a lot of issues, right? So effective communication, there are a few basic skills that are required for that. First things first, listening. Why listening? Because if you listen, you'll understand and you'll respond properly, because communication is a two-way street. It's a discussion or a talk between two people, right? And it can be written, it can be verbal, it can be through signs as well. Because back in the days, languages, when there were no spoken languages, there were sign languages. There were pictorial drawings through which people communicated with each other, right? So today we're going to talk about communication skills and how to improve and enhance those, right? So first things first, you have to be a very, very good listener to communicate effectively. How you can be a listener? You know, we hear things and then we listen things. There's a difference between both. You hear a lot of things, you hear the vehicles going by and everything, but you cannot make sense of it, right? You don't know what they mean or what they're saying. Listening is when you're focused on something. Like you're focused on me, you're listening, you're understanding what I'm saying, right? So that's what's most important, because you have to be focused and you have to be relaxed in order to understand and listen to people. And before I move further, if you have any issues understanding me, let me know. I'll repeat myself. Okay? All right. So listening, done once you've listened to everyone or listened to the person you're talking to, you can respond appropriately. And never ever rush yourself in an argument or a discussion to respond, because that's when you make mistakes, right? Always think, take your time. If you want to take more time, ask the other person to repeat their question, even if you understood it, right? That's a very basic thing. That will help you in your interviews as well and your discussions as well. Because if the interviewer is asking you a question, you understood it, but you need time to think about it, just ask them, can you repeat that? Then repeat it, you'll get more time to think, right? And the first communication that you do, or the first contact that you make with anyone, is through your body language, right? You have a language of your body as well. And it shows when you enter a room, it shows whether you're confident or you're nervous. It gives it away right there and then. I've conducted a lot of interviews myself, so as soon as the candidate enters the room, I get to know his state of mind, whether he's confident or whether he's nervous, or whether he's going to lie or make things up. Your body language tells a lot about you. So, communication skills, and as Bushra mentioned about accent and linguistics as well. Accent, I never ask anyone to let go of their natural accent. So in my experience of about 12, 13 years that I've worked in this industry, where we hire people solely for the skill of speaking and communications, I've learned and I've seen that people who are from Punjab area in Pakistan and people who are from the northern areas, or as we call them, generalize them as Pathans, they have the best accent in English. And that's how it is, because the people from other areas, they do have it, but they somehow have a natural flavor to it which does not sound right. Right? So, not being racist or anything, but the best accents that I've seen are the best, because in this industry or anywhere that you go, having a neutral accent is very important, because that's how you're clear. Because if you don't have a neutral accent, you either sway towards the side of American, Native American, British, or any kind of accent which is regional to that particular area. So that's pretty hard to understand for a lot of people. But if you talk about in Pakistan, the people who are the easiest to understand when it comes to speaking English are these two nationalities which I've mentioned, like Punjabis and the Pathans that we have. Because somehow or the other, the way they speak their own languages, that translates into English as well and kind of helps out in pronunciation of words. Because for me, if I talk about my personal experience, the most difficult letters to pronounce are sometimes R's. For me, R can be very, very difficult. Right? If a word has R in it, I sometimes get myself stuck in the head. People who are listening to me, they might not understand, but I get it that it's a bit hard for me to say. For some people, the difference between T and D, that's pretty difficult as well, and V and W as well, because we say everything pretty commonly or with the same way. W and V, they're pronounced differently. Let's say white, and that's with a W, right? Vehicle, that's with V. W, we roll our tongues and O, sound like O, make our mouth as if you're saying O, but it's W. And V is the teeth with the lips. That's how it is. And one of the most common mistakes that we make is when we say Saturday, most of us say it as Saturday. That's not right. That's totally not right. T and U does not make a sound of Ch. Right? It's TU, Saturday. It's not Saturday. It's not opportunities, it's opportunities. Right? So that's how you say it correctly. Right? And then there's another thing, except. There are two kinds of way to say it. Let me just clear this out. Now I'll use the board. See? Except. Both are pronounced the same way, but they have a different meaning. Right? So this means exception without in those kind of meanings. Accept means to take something, to accept it. How do we pronounce it? Our most common mistakes are accept. We say it as accept. That's not how it is. It's accept. We do not say it as accept. We think it's right to say accept because that's acceptable all over. People don't know that that's wrong, but actual pronunciation for this is accept. Just like this word, but they have different meanings, right? So there are a lot of other words which sound the same, but they have a different meaning. Like here and here. Here, H-A-I-R, and here, to be here, it's H-E-R-E, right? They're said the same way, but different meanings, right? So, accent is very good to have. What do we understand by the word accent? Means the way you speak a language, right? So, if we talk about our own languages, Urdu, it it has different accents. If you go around across Pakistan, you'll find people speaking Urdu, but in different accents. Then there is Punjabi, and every local language has different dialects and accents. And if you go on YouTube and search for videos on how, this is basically called accent reduction, right? When you lose a part of your native accent, natural accent, and gain more of a neutral accent, right? And how do you do that? You do that over time, and the best way to develop an accent is to keep on listening to things. Watch movies, English movies with subtitles, so that you know if that person is speaking this word, this is what they actually are saying. Because back, if I talk about 13 years back when I was not working with TRG, I used to have difficulty understanding a lot of words. Yes, I was good in English, but then again, reading something out of the book, hearing people speak in our native accent, pretty understandable. But when you listen it through a speaker or a phone, the voice is different, the tone gets changed because of the surrounding atmosphere and everything. So your understanding changes as well. My accent developed, when I joined TRG, my accent was pretty neutral, or I would say it was close to a local or a Desi accent rather than a neutral or an American accent. But after speaking to people, communicating with them, the people, the white people as we call them, so it improved automatically without an effort, because I kept on listening and my brain kept on processing and developing, right? And another thing that we have, one of the basic requirements of communication is confidence as well. You know, why I give my own examples? Because I know myself better than anyone else, right? Before joining TRG, I had zero confidence. I was a very shy person. I could not speak to people. Like if I had to talk to someone standing outside that I don't know, I cannot speak to them. That's how I was back in the days. But now I'm here. This is one of the smallest sessions that I'm doing. I've spoken to 50, 60 people at the same time, delivered lectures, delivered orientations, and at my workplace I do that almost every other day. That's how things have changed. But that's all because of the confidence in your own abilities, right? We have heard a lot of things about believing in yourself. How do you believe in yourself? You believe in yourself once you start thinking, yes, I can do it. Instead of thinking, can I do it? Always think, yes, I can, rather than can I. There's a difference. Will and maybe, there's a difference. Maybe you're doubting yourself. Will, yes, I will do it. You're sure about yourself. Because unless you don't try it, you won't know that whether you're going to succeed or not. So as far as communication and speaking in a particular language is concerned, you have to be sure about yourself. Yes, you will make mistakes. Make mistakes, as many mistakes as possible. Because once you make a mistake, you'll know it's a mistake and then you will not repeat it. Right? Only then you will know that where you're wrong. Because if you're not trying, you will not even know whether you are doing something right or wrong. Right? So, mistakes always, they're very, very good in order to improve. And never close yourself to learning. Always be open. You can get suggestions and learning opportunities from anyone. Today, after 12, 13 years of working in this industry, I still learn from my juniors, my team members, my seniors. I take knowledge from anyone I can, right? I use Google. If I hear a new word, I Google it. What does this mean? This is something new for me. Why? Because I have this in me that I want to know about everything that I get to know, so that whenever I'm sitting in a group of people or I'm sitting with a person, I have something to talk to. That will to learn takes you places. Because yes, I don't know much about politics. I stay away from that. So that's one topic that I don't want to learn and I don't like it. So moving onwards, yeah, as far as learning is concerned, that should never ever stop. Learning should never stop. Learning is a constant process. It keeps on going, and it should keep on going. And as I told you, Google is your best friend, YouTube is your best friend. If you hear anything new, just Google it, type it, internet, use it. We use internet for a lot of stuff, Facebook and all of that, but internet is the biggest tool that we have to learn a lot of new things. Right? If we have to purchase a new mobile phone, we go on the internet, we search for the specifications and whatnot, right? But if we hear a new word that we don't understand, most of the people, what they do is, like, okay, fine, I don't get it, it's all good, I don't need to use it. But you never know. Vocabulary, improve your vocabulary, that's how you do it, right? You know how my speaking improved? By reading. Pick up a book, or a novel, or an English newspaper. Stand in front of a mirror. Start to read that out loud. Right? And how? Not just like this, hi, this is, no. With proper punctuations, proper pauses and breaks. You know, a comma is a pause, not a break. A full stop is a break, right? So use that. Use inflection. What is inflection? Do we know what's inflection? Inflection is the up and down of your voice to emphasize on certain words when you're speaking. If you're listening to me, you might feel that I'm focusing or I'm emphasizing on certain words, and I'm putting pressure on those, I'm inflecting them so that you know this is important, right? And then while speaking, how would you know that I've ended a sentence, I've finished a sentence? Because that's with your tone of voice. Because you either end it at a higher note or a lower note, depending on the importance of that word or that sentence, right? And on top of it, what else do we need to improve our communication skills? It's very, very good to have strong hand gestures. They help in inflection, right? I see that, but don't overdo it. There are some people who just keep on moving their hands and whatnot. That gets irritating. But your hand gestures help in inflection. They help in speaking. They give you energy, right? They produce that energy that you need to speak. Okay? And on top of it, use your voice. Your voice is the most important thing in communication, because that's how you basically propagate ideas, right? Your voice, you use it wisely. Right? Lower down the voice, take it higher, depending on the number of audience that you have or the person that you're talking to, right? And because using your voice can mean a lot of things, right? If you are using or raising your voice practically means that you're being aggressive, you're being rude, right? A lot of us have this misconception that if we have to add energy to our communication or our conversation, we have to be loud. No, we just have to add intent to it. Intent, what is intent? Intention, your will, your energy in it. Rather than being loud, right now I'm not being loud. This is my normal tone that I speak in. Or rather, I speak in a very lower tone normally, right? So, if you have the intent in your voice, you will never have to raise your voice to prove a point, right? So, always have intent. Never raise your voice, because that's when you sound rude. And if you have to be assertive or firm on anything, that helps you in a lot of ways, right? In sales, if we talk about sales, that's my forte, right? Forte means my specialty. Sales is my thing, and in sales, being assertive means that you're going to get the job done. Because if you're pretty calm, if you are polite, and if you talk in a very sweet tone, the other person is not going to listen to you, right? Because if you go to buy something, they have this energy and intent. They're never rude to you, but they're like, this is the thing that you have to buy. This is good for you. This is that. This is this, right? That's their intent, their assertiveness. They're firm on their belief that their product is the best. That's confidence. That helps you communicate. And communication is not just like you have to convince someone on something. It can be an idea. Like, you thought about something, and somebody thought about a plane, right? So their idea, they communicated through different channels. That's how the world knew about that this can be done. If they kept their idea to themselves, we would never have flown, right? There would be no planes. So an idea needs communication as well. You had an idea, for instance, you wanted to study music, right?
Yes.
But you communicated it to other people, you got the feedback, and then you decided where you had to go to study. You got a target, you got a track.
Yes.
If you would not have communicated, that idea would have stayed in your mind and it would have turned into regrets down the line. That's not good for people. So if you have an idea, if you have anything in your mind, you have to communicate as well. And for communication, we need language. And language can be any language. Be it your native language, that can be Urdu, but for any language, you need to speak it properly. Right? Nobody's asking you to be perfect in it. Right? I get a lot of feedback. Once I went to an audition for an Urdu news channel for a host, and it went really well, but the feedback I got was that I speak Urdu with an English accent. Whereas I don't feel that, but they felt it because they were the people of the language. They knew the language better than me. Right? So that happens. But for me, I sometimes get, when I was just an agent growing up through the ranks in sales, my supervisor and my manager used to come up to me and tell me that at some point, your accent is so amazingly good that we feel as if some American is sitting and talking on the phones. But then there are times when you sound so desi that we get confused that is it the same person. So yes, you are all humans, and it's not our native language. If I grew up speaking Urdu, but I love speaking Punjabi. I cannot speak it properly, people make fun of me as well, but I keep on trying. Because again, brings me back to my point. If you don't try, you will never improve. Keep on trying. So I still keep on trying and I keep on making mistakes, but I keep on getting better at it. Right? So same is the case with English as well. It's not our native language. Native language means it's not our mother tongue. We've not grown up speaking English. In our homes, we speak Urdu, we speak Punjabi, or whatever our local language is, right? And nobody asks us, nobody communicates us in English at home. Even I don't speak English at home. I speak English for a living. I earn my salary through speaking English, right? But I do not speak English at home. I get tired of speaking English at home. But then again, I know if it comes to that, I can speak it because I've learned it over time. And what helped me was reading. Once you are good at reading, and the mirror technique that I told you guys, that stand in front of the mirror, pick up an English newspaper or a novel, because English newspapers or novels, they're written in a language which is basically as if you're talking to one another. If you read a story or a book, that's not written in that particular context. So it's better to read a novel or an English newspaper. Stand in front of the mirror, read it out loud, because you yourself are your biggest critic. If you can speak in front of yourself, you can speak in front of anyone in the world, right? That's what's most important. And another thing that's important is the biggest mistake a lot of people make while speaking English is they do not open their mouth, right? So when you do not open your mouth, you mumble words. They don't come out clearly. People don't understand you, right? So that's what we have to change. If you have to speak any language, you have to open your mouth, right? So that the words, they come out clear and people understand you, right? If you do not open your mouth, you're going to sound like this. This is not clear, right? If you're sitting in front of me, only you can understand. But if you open your mouth, things will be clear. And take your time while speaking, right? Do not talk fast. Do not talk too slow. You know, when I have to talk to people or deliver lectures or I have to give feedbacks or talk to customers, I slow down. This is how I talk to customers and how I deliver lectures. But when I have to talk normally, I talk a bit fast because the person sitting in front of me will understand me, right? But it's good to take your time. You sound relaxed, you sound calm, right? So that's how you should be. Whenever you're speaking, And that's how your accent develops as well. Because if you talk too fast, your accent will be messed up, your words will be jumbling up, and you will not be able to make sense. You know, the biggest difference that we all talk about when we talk about English is the American accent and the British accent. First things first, English is not American. English is British. That's the proper English. But there is a difference between both. A huge, huge difference. The way they both talk. If you talk about proper imperial British accent, we have trouble understanding that because they talk in a different manner. Then there is a Cockney accent, there is Irish accent, there is Scottish accent. They're all different. Same if you go with American accent, there is no such thing as American accent. Right? There is a neutral accent, there is a Native American accent, there is a Southern accent, a Western accent, the accent of the mountains, the rednecks, the Texans, and whatnot. So there are different dialects as we have over here. If I speak Urdu, I'll sound different, my accent of Urdu will be different. If you speak it, yours will be different. So that's how it is with English as well. So every accent is acceptable as long as you're making sense. You have to be grammatically correct, not 100% grammatically correct. You know, you have to be grammatically 100% correct when you're writing, but when you're speaking, you have to be, if you're even 80-90% there, you're good, because you're only going to improve from there. Do not make a lot of grammatical mistakes, right? Because mostly what we do is we think about a sentence in Urdu and then we start talking in English. That's one of the biggest mistakes, right? Because just for example, ye mobile hai. If we translate that into English as it is, this mobile is, that's not making sense. This is a mobile, this is a cell phone. So you have to make sense of the sentence. If you think about it in Urdu, then make sense of it, convert it in English, and it does not have to be literally word for word. It has to make the same sense, right? So that's how you should take a language. The first step towards speaking in any foreign language is first think about what you have to say in your own language. Then think how you're going to say it in that language. They both have to make sense. Grammatically correct sentences, right? You have to structure the sentence properly. So that's how it is. And moving onwards, another common mistake that a lot of people make is the difference between there and there. There and there. T-H-E-R-E, T-H-E-I-R, right? So that's one of the common mistakes because they sound the same, they practically look the same. But there's a difference. There means there, right? That's directional. And the other with the I means that's towards people. That's directed towards human beings, right? That's the difference. They sound the same. They're spelling practically the same with just one letter difference, right? And then there's another new thing that I've learned recently is the pronunciation of the or the. T-H-E. Why? We basically say it's okay both ways, the and the. But I've learned that if it's with a vowel, it has to be a the elephant, because E is a vowel. If it has to be with any other letter, it's the. Right? So that's the major difference. Even I didn't know about it till the past couple of days, but then I got to know about it and I felt really amazed that language can be pretty interesting, right? Vowels, we all know what vowels are, right? A, E, I, O, U, those, and the other ones are consonants. So with those, that's the and the, right? And then A, the sound that we make with A, that's a thing as well. This is a thing, this is a thing. How do we do that? For me, when you're speaking, that's totally fine, right? That works. But when you're writing, you have to, grammar comes in when you're writing because people focus more, right? If you've written a sentence and you ask someone to read it, they'll read it once and then they're like, this is not making sense. They're going to read it again and again and then they're going to find a mistake. When you're speaking to someone, they're not going to go see that those words that you've spoken. They're only going to understand what you're trying to say. Right? A lot of people in America speak grammatically incorrect English. And it's not just 5-10% mistakes, there are a lot of mistakes. Right? But they go about it because first things first, we think that white people cannot make mistakes because it's their language. Secondly, in spoken English, everything goes. Right? You have to make sense and you have to have a neutral accent so that people can understand you, the words are coming out clear. And how to get a neutral accent is, first things first, keep on listening to what they're saying. That's how your brain processes things and then evolves itself, and it generally results in using your mouth, tongue, and your voice in a way that your words become more clear and clear with every passing day. And you have to keep on using your tongue and your mouth, open your mouth as much as you can. Make a deliberate effort. Deliberate is zabardasti. Make a deliberate effort that yes, I have to open my mouth every time I'm saying a word. Be it Urdu, be it English, be it anything. Right? Because that's how your words will be clear. Right? And what else do we have in communication? Obviously, listening, hand gestures, body language, confidence, your attitude. Your attitude matters a lot. Right? And attitude is not what we think it is, that you have to show the other person the attitude that yes, I am something. No, attitude is positivity. Your positive thinking, your positive body language, it gives a positive energy. You know, every body, every person, they have an energy to them. And that exudes, that goes out to them when they meet someone. The other person can feel that. If you have a negative thinking, people will feel that. People will get a negative vibe. If you have positive energy and positive vibe, people will feel that as well, right? So you have to always have a positive attitude and positive thinking towards life. That's how, if you have to improve, because you all are here to learn. And learning means you are here to gain something positive. So you have to have a positive frame of mind. Never ever think that you know everything. You never know everything. No one ever knows everything. No one is perfect. You always have something that's missing. I sometimes learn things from my kids as well. Because they do things, obviously they don't know what they're doing. But you look at that and you start thinking, yeah, this is something very important. So that's something that we do every day. We keep on learning. Keep on improving your vocabulary, because vocabulary is very important. You have to have as many words in your vocabulary, in your mind, as possible. Because that's the only way you're going to speak. And another mistake that a lot of people make is they try to learn difficult words. You don't have to show your intelligence when speaking in a foreign language. All you have to do is just communicate a message. You know, I know a lot of difficult words. I can write them down when sending an email or writing an article. But that's not going to help me. People are not going to understand. What's the point of writing something or saying something that other person does not understand, and then they have to Google it out, what does this word means, right? I have to keep it simple. There are very simple words in every language that mean that goes a long way in helping you out as well, right? So you have to keep it simple and precise. So we have talked about a lot of things today. So if you have any questions, any concerns, you're welcome, questions.